Good morning! Today we will learn how to solve work problems involving quadratic equations. For our first example, we have Jesse and Mark are planning to paint a house together. Jesse thinks that if he works alone, it would take him 5 hours more than the time Mark to paint the entire house. Working together, they can complete the job in 6 hours. How long does it take each of them alone to paint the house? So first, let us assign a variable that will represent the number of hours that Mark will finish the job. So let's say Mark, working alone, will finish the job in m hours. According to the problem, Jesse thinks that if he works alone, it would take him 5 more hours than the time Mark to paint the entire house. So how do we represent that? So for Jesse, that would be m plus 5 hours. Working together, they can complete the job in 6 hours. Next, how do we represent the amount of work that Mark can finish in 1 hour? So that will be 1 over m. How do we represent the amount of work that Jesse can finish in 1 hour? That will also be 1 over m plus 5. Next, if they work together, what equation would represent the amount of work they can finish in 1 hour? So if they work together, 1 over m plus 1 over m plus 5 is equal to 1 over 6. Now this equation will represent the amount of work that they can finish in 1 hour if they work together. So how can we describe this equation formulated? This is now a rational algebraic equation which can be transformed into a quadratic equation. So if we try to recall our lesson on solving equations transformable to quadratic equations, for this rational algebraic equation to be transformed into a quadratic equation, we must multiply the entire equation by the LCM of all the denominators. So for this rational algebraic equation, we multiply the entire equation by the LCM of the denominators, and the LCM of all the denominators will be 6m times m plus 5. By distributive property, we have 6m times m plus 5 multiplied by 1 over m plus 6m times m plus 5 multiplied by 1 over m plus 5 is equal to 6m times m plus 5 multiplied by 1 over 6. Now let us look for possible cancellations. So we're going to have 6 times m plus 5 plus 6m is equal to m times m plus 5. By distributive property, we have 6m plus 30 plus 6m is equal to m squared plus 5m. Okay, let's continue here. Combining like terms, we have 12m plus 30 is equal to m squared plus 5m. Moving all terms to the left side of the equation, we have negative m squared minus 5m plus 12m plus 30 is equal to 0. Combining like terms, we have negative m squared plus 7m plus 30 is equal to 0. This equation is the same as if we divide the entire equation by negative 1, we have m squared minus 7m minus 30 is equal to 0. Now we can solve this quadratic equation in standard form using the method of our choice. Let's say we choose factoring. So we have m minus 10 and m plus 3. Since negative 10 times 3 is negative 30, and negative 10 plus positive 3 is negative 7. Apply zero product property. We have m minus 10 is equal to 0, and m plus 3 is equal to 0. So for m, we have m sub 1 is 10, and then m sub 2 is negative 3. So what we're going to do with negative 3 is we will disregard this value since there is no measure of time that is a negative number. So we will only consider m is equal to positive 10. So we have said that m represents the number of hours that Mark will finish the job if he works alone. Therefore, Mark can finish the job in 10 hours. For Jesse, since it is represented by m plus 5, if m is equal to 10, 10 plus 5, that will be 15 hours. Mark, 10 hours. Jesse can finish it working alone in 15 hours. Let's have another problem. Two pipes working together can fill a tank in 35 minutes. If the large pipe alone can fill the tank in 24 minutes, less than the time taken by the smaller pipe, then find the time taken by each pipe working alone to fill the tank. So in the given problem, we are talking about two pipes, a smaller pipe and a larger pipe. According to the problem, the larger pipe can fill the tank in 24 minutes less than the time taken by the smaller pipe. So let's say, for example, let us assign a variable that will represent the number of minutes that the smaller pipe can fill the tank. So let's say for the smaller pipe can finish or can fill the tank in X minutes. So how do we represent the number of minutes that the bigger pipe or the larger pipe can fill the tank? According to the problem, it can fill the tank in 24 minutes less than the time taken by the smaller pipe. So how do we represent that? That would be represented by X minus 24. Now, how can we represent the amount of work that the smaller pipe can fill the tank in 1 minute? That can be represented by 1 over X. How do we represent the amount of work that the larger pipe can fill the tank in 1 minute? That would be 1 over X minus 24. Now, if they work together, what equation would represent the amount of work that they can finish in 35 minutes? That would be 1 over X plus 1 over X minus 24 is equal to 1 over 35. So looking at this equation, this is now our rational algebraic equation which can be transformed into a quadratic equation. How do we do that? By multiplying the entire equation by the LCM of all the denominators. For this rational algebraic equation, the LCM of all the denominators is 35x times quantity x minus 24. By distributive property, we have 35x times x minus 24 times 1 over x plus, multiply it by the second term, so 35x times x minus 24 times 1 over x minus 24 is equal to 35x times x minus 24 times 1 over 35. Now we look for possible cancellations. So we now have 35 times quantity x minus 24 plus, look for possible cancellations again. So 35x times 1 is 35x is equal to x times x minus 24. By distributive property, we have 35x negative 840 plus 35x is equal to x squared minus 24x. So let's continue here. Combining like terms, we're going to have 70x minus 840 is equal to x squared minus 24x. Move all terms to the left side of the equation. We have negative x squared plus 24x plus 70x minus 840 is equal to 0. Combine like terms. We have negative x squared plus 94x minus 840 is equal to 0. Divide the entire equation by negative 1. So we have now x squared minus 94x plus 840. This is now our quadratic equation in standard form, which can be solved using the method of our choice. So let's say we choose factoring. So how can we factor this? What are the factors of positive 840 that will give us negative 94 when added or subtracted? That would be negative 84 and negative 10. Since negative 84 times negative 10 is positive 840, and negative 84 plus negative 10 is equal to negative 94. By zero product property, we have x minus 84 is equal to 0 and x minus 10 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 84, x is equal to 10. What we're going to do with x is equal to 10 is we will disregard this value for the smaller pipe. Since if we will subtract 24 from 10, that will give us a negative number. So we will only consider x is equal to 84. So for the smaller pipe, it is represented by x, so the smaller pipe can finish filling the tank in 84 minutes. For the bigger pipe, we have x minus 24. So if x is 84, that will be 84 minus 24. And that is equal to 60 minutes. Therefore, the smaller pipe can fill the tank in 84 minutes, while the bigger pipe can fill it in 60 minutes. For our third example, we have Earl and John Paul together can do a piece of work in 4 days. If they had to work separately, the time taken by John Paul to do the work would be more than that of Earl by 6 days. In how many days can Earl alone do the work? So for this problem, let us first assign a variable that will represent the number of days Earl can do a piece of work alone. So let's say x will be the number of days Earl can finish the job alone. So if x is the number of days Earl can finish the job alone, how do we represent the number of days John Paul can do the piece of work alone? According to the problem, it will be more than that of Earl by 6 days. So how do we represent that? More than that of Earl by 6 days. So we have x plus 6. This is now the number of days John Paul can finish the job alone. Next, how do we represent the amount of work that Earl can finish in 1 day? That will be 1 over x. How do we represent the amount of work that John Paul can finish in 1 day? That would be 1 over x plus 6. Now, if they are going to work together, how do we represent the amount of work that both of them can finish in 1 day? That would be 1 over x plus 1 over x plus 6 is equal to 1 over 4. Since they can do the piece of work in 4 days if they work together. This is now our rational algebraic equation, which can be transformed into a quadratic equation if we multiply it by the LCM of all the denominators. So what is the LCM of all the denominators? That will be 4x times quantity x plus 6. Okay, using distributive property, let's multiply. So we have 4x times x plus 6 multiplied by the first term, which is 1 over x, plus 4x times x plus 6 multiplied by the second term, which is 1 over x plus 6 is equal to 4x times x plus 6 multiplied by 1/4. Now we look for possible cancellations. So we have 4 times quantity x plus 6 plus 4x times 1 is 4x is equal to x times quantity x plus 6. By distributive property, we have 4x plus 24 plus 4x is equal to x squared plus 6x. Combining like terms, we have 8x plus 24 is equal to x squared plus 6x. Let us move all terms to the left side of the equation. So we have negative x squared minus 6x plus 8x plus 24 is equal to 0. Combine like terms. So we have negative x squared plus 2x plus 24 is equal to 0. Divide the entire equation by -1. We now have x squared minus 2x minus 24 is equal to 0. This is now our quadratic equation in standard form, which can be solved using the method of our choice. Okay, let's use factoring. What are the factors of -24 that will give us -2 when added or subtracted? That would be -6 and +4. -6 times +4 is -24. -6 plus +4 is -2. Apply zero product property, so we have x minus 6 is equal to 0. X plus 4 is equal to 0. Solve for x, so we have x is equal to 6. X is equal to -4. Since this is a negative number, so we will disregard -4. So x is equal to 6. Now we can say that Earl can finish the job in 6 days if he will work alone. While for John Paul, since it is represented by x plus 6, if x is 6, that will be 6 plus 6. We have 12 days. 6 days for Earl. And if John Paul will work alone, it will take him 12 days to finish the piece of work. That is how we solve work problems involving quadratic equations. Thank you very much.